answers?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
You want answers?
You have offended my family.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth.
And you have offended a Shaolin temple.
You can't handle the truth.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Radical Rant.
Welcome back, folks. Been a while since we've had a good rant to go off on, and while I was gone to the normal national conference, a story came across the AP Newswires that is certainly rant-worthy. This is out of Oklahoma City. I picked this up from Tulsa World, which says, converting marijuana to hashish could land Oklahomans a life prison sentence under a bill approved in the Oklahoma sentence. A life prison sentence. Oh my God, that's terrible. So it goes on to say, the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs spokesman Mark Woodward said the goal of the bill is to send a message that illegal drugs won't be tolerated in Oklahoma. Conviction of a first offense of cooking hashish. Cooking hashish, John. They're cooking it now.
They're cooking it like meth?
Like meth. They're the hash cooks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's not an extraction. It's cooking. Yeah. The conviction of a first offense of cooking hashish would result in a prison sentence from 2 years to life in prison. Sentences would be doubled under a second offense, so you'd get double life, I guess.
It's after you're dead, they keep you for another 70
That's
years.
right. They just keep your corpse in the cell. And those convicted would not be eligible for a suspended sentence or probation.
Wow.
You're going in for life permanently, no arguments, no nothing, right? For cooking hash. Now, this bill was promoted by the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs. These are the same people a couple of years ago. I wrote up a blog post on their marijuana fact sheet that they made. Their marijuana fact sheet claimed that pot today is 30 times stronger than the 1% Woodstock weed they used to smoke back in the 60s, you know, back before they were able to test the potency of marijuana. They also claimed that it damages brain cells and reproductive organs. Right. So these are the same people who brought you that fact sheet now want to throw the hash cooks, the hash cooks in prison for life. Now, whenever I get these things, you know, first of all, it's just ridiculous that you'd want to punish hashish much more than raw cannabis. Because like we just talked about with Dr. Mitch, they're the same thing. Right? Hash is cannabis. Hash is just the cannabinoids and flavonoids and terpenes extracted into a more condensed product. So it's more potent, certainly, but it's no different than cannabis. So to have a different sentence for it seems a little bit ridiculous as well. And even if that is their excuse, right, that hash is so much more potent, so we need to punish it more, I wonder how they're going to feel when they learn that Schedule 3 dronabinol, you know, those Marinol pills, are more potent than hash. Oh, no, that's right, because they're Schedule 3, they're legal, you can have those, right? But, you know, whenever I get a story like this, one of the things I like to do is to look at our criminal justice system and try to equate the sentences here. You know, a life sentence for making hashish, what does that equate to in the Oklahoma system of justice? And so I decided this time I'd take a look at rape. Let's just see if making hash is as bad as rape in the state of Oklahoma. So I found a story. This was up by the Slane and Phillips law firm, their defense law firm here. And this was just from a case that was decided in February of 2011. An Oklahoma City man who pleaded guilty to 5 charges of first-degree rape in Oklahoma County District Court last October was sentenced late last week. This was February. John Earl Stepney Jr., age 33, was given a life sentence without parole for each of the 5 rapes of which he was convicted. Oklahoma County District Judge Kenneth Watson sentenced Stepney to life in prison without parole for each of the following rape incidents. He raped a woman who was asleep in her apartment in November of 2008. In December 7th of 2008, he raped a woman. He attacked her as she was walking home from work. December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas, he raped a woman who was attacked and kidnapped as she was shopping at the mall. On January 5th, he raped a woman who was doing laundry at her apartment complex. And on January 7th, he raped a woman who was vacuuming her car at a car wash. So in all of these cases, a violent, out of nowhere, total surprise, attack from a stranger type of rape going on here. And the guy was also accused of forcing two of the women to withdraw cash from their bank accounts at ATMs and was using a BB gun that looked like a handgun to threaten and coerce his victims. So 5 women attacked out of nowhere, raped by a stranger. 2 of them are robbed, fearing for their lives with what they believe to be a handgun that could shoot and kill them at any moment. That'll get you life in prison. Or if you make hash. If you rape a woman with a gun to her head and force her to withdraw from the ATM, that's worth life in prison. Or if you make hash. If you make hash, we might have to put you in prison as well.
Making hash in Oklahoma supports the terrorists.
I guess it does. So that's the one case I came up with, right? And here's a guy, 5 rapes, right, before they caught him. Because maybe they were too busy taking down medical marijuana patients or something. I don't know. But that was one case I found. Now, here's one I found from 2009, far more disturbing. From USA Today out of Alester, Oklahoma, this is from 2009, 2 state lawmakers are questioning a plea agreement that will allow a man to serve only 1 year in jail on a conviction for raping a 4-year-old girl. 19 of the 20 years of a sentence against 64-year-old David Harold Earls were suspended as part of a plea agreement reached with Pittsburgh County prosecutors. So the sentence was 20 years in prison for the rapist of the 4-year-old. But 19 of them, he gets to stay out on the streets on probation. Now, he pleaded no contest, which is not the same as pleading guilty. Pleading guilty says, yes, I did it. Pleading no contest says, well, I'm not going to say I did it, but you got a pretty strong case, so I'm not going to fight it, right? So it's not an admission of guilt. It's an admission of, I can't prove I'm innocent. All right, let's call it that. So Earls pleaded no contest on May 13th to first-degree rape and forcible sodomy. He has spent nearly 9 months in jail already and is scheduled to be released September 24th. So that meant he was already in jail for 9 months, awaiting the trial, and so he gets credit for time served. So actually, after he's sentenced, he's only in jail for 3 months. Before he gets out, and then spends the rest of the 19 years of his sentence on probation. Now, he would serve the remaining 19 years of his sentence under supervised release, right? Supervised release. He has a probation officer, right? And would have to register as a sex offender. Now, another news story on this from news9.com interviewed this guy's daughter, right? This rapist's daughter. The daughter of a convicted rapist speaks out, saying he deserves more than 1 year behind bars. She says her father deserves a life sentence. David Earl's rape conviction made national headlines this month after a Pittsburgh County judge sentenced him to only 1 year in prison. Quote, "My father is a monster and he needs to stay in prison," end quote, said Denise Earls. Denise Earls says when she was young, her father raped her. She hoped he was finally going to get the punishment he deserved. Quote, "Well, I was completely outraged because it brought back all the memories that I went through as a child, and just to know that he only got a year when I have a life sentence to deal with this," end quote, said Denise Earls. So this is Oklahoma justice for you, folks. Now, to give you the full story, in the case with this 4-year-old, and she was 5 by the time it went to trial, the prosecutors found that she wasn't a good witness. Like a lot of 5-year-olds aren't good witnesses in court. They, easily cry, get very emotional, can't, focus, it's very hard to bring a case like this. And so the prosecutors argued that this plea bargain was as good as it was going to get, or else the guy was going to be able to walk because they didn't have, the evidence they needed to get the conviction. I think that's a bunch of horse shit, but whatever. That's their excuse. But any sort of system that allows this man who sexually assaulted and sodomized a 4-year-old child, that allows him not just the 1 year, even if he'd gotten the full 20 years and had to spend all 20 years behind bars, he'd still be doing less time than the guy cooking hash, or cooking hash. See, they even got me, John. The guy making hash, the guy extracting hash. Our priorities are so far out of whack in this war on drugs that these lawmakers proposing a life sentence for hash can't even see that they're essentially saying that hash making is as bad as rape, that hash making is as bad as treason, that hash making is as bad as capital murder, that hash making is as bad as desertion and mutiny in the military, and we all know it is not. I'll even give benefit of the doubt to people out there who really do believe marijuana is a terrible, dangerous, deadly drug. Even if you really believe that, even if you really believe all the reefer madness and that people like me who smoke pot every day ought to be locked up, there is no way you can believe that manufacture of hash is as bad as murder, that manufacture of hash is as bad as rape and sodomy. There's just no way that you can be a functional human being with any sense of conscience, any sense of justice in your mind to be able to accept this. And it's just amazing to me too, what do you do about this? Maybe somebody can plant some hash on this David Earl so he actually ends up doing some of his time, right? Just unbelievable to me. And again, hash and pot are the same thing, okay? Let me give you a basic difference, folks, between hash and pot, right? Let's say this is pot. Pot goes like this. Whoa, I'm high. Here's how hash goes. Whoa, I'm high. That's it. That's the big difference, folks. The pot takes you, 10, 20 puffs to get there. The hash takes you 1 or 2 dabs. But either way, you're getting the same high, you're getting the same marijuana, you're getting the same effect, the same experience. The only difference is concentration. Marijuana is to hash as oranges are to orange juice concentrate. Making it a little frozen orange juice concentrate does not change the way the orange juice tastes, people. It does not change the vitamin C content. It does not make it any more or less good for you. And the same goes for hashish. And when you're a medical patient, a lot of these medical patients require the concentration of this hashish.
This is Normal Show Live, the voice of the Marijuana Nation.
For Cannabis Carrie and Ganja John, I'm Radical Russ. Thanks for joining us here for show number 701. We're back in just a few minutes with Toker Talk Radio. Stick around. For those of you listening on the podcast, take care of each other, Tokers.
Smoke it and it goes down smooth.